Today we are working on Psalm 125. Psalm 125 is traditionally used in psalm magic to be shielded against all harm and also for mental stability. Today I'm going to use it for protection. And a lot of times people feel unprotected and unsafe in this world, and this is a wonderful psalm to go to because it's a very short psalm. If you internalize the thoughts that are held within the psalm, it seems to cause a very vibrant and visceral protection all about you. So that's what we're going to do today. The way we work psalm magic is very simple and very effective. We take the psalm in question and we recite it out loud once all the way through without stopping. This is called an incantation. And then we take that same psalm, we go back through it, and we take it verse by verse, sometimes even line by line. And we dig for hidden, occult meanings within the psalm. And there are an infinite amount of those, what we call magic seeds. And it's through this searching and contemplating, digging, and working that we find those magical seeds and then also plant those seeds deeply in the fertile ground of our mind. And in a very real way, those seeds take root and grow, blossom forth, and then bear fruit after their kind. And that's what we are going to do together right now, you and I, with Psalm 125. They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abideth forever. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people, from henceforth even forever. For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. Do good, O Lord, unto those that be good, and to them that are upright in their hearts. As for such as turn aside unto their crooked ways, the Lord shall lead them forth with the workers of iniquity, but peace shall be upon Israel. So this is one of these songs of ascent, and we will go into that at a later date, the implications of that. But in psalm magic, the psalms of ascent are specifically powerful for us in an initiatory sense. So if you're working on the psalmic initiatory path, these psalms have some extra special power for us. As a general psalm of protection, this is one of the really good ones. There are several. It starts out with, they that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion. Usually in the King James version of the Psalms, and I use the authorized King James version usually when I'm doing psalm magic, the tetragrammaton is what is usually translated into English as the Lord in the King James version of the Bible, whereas the Elohim is translated into the word God in the King James version of the Psalms, usually. Sometimes it's a little different. But in this case, it's true. It's the tetragrammaton. In psalm magic, we understand that the Lord represents the life principle itself. And the life principle is all-encompassing, and there's only one. And there are many different qualities and aspects of spirit. And if you don't understand that, if you don't internalize those qualities and understand what you're talking about, then all of your talk of God is very superstitious and non-magical and does not give you any power whatsoever. Because if you're thinking religiously about a God, usually you're thinking about some father figure up in the sky or somewhere far away from you in some land called heaven that is going to receive petitions or receive requests or receive prayers, and then maybe, if you're good enough, will give you something. And that's not at all what the Lord means from a magical point of view. The Lord is not a male deity at all. It is a pre-gender experience of the oneness of all that is. So the Lord has those qualities of spirit that we talk about, and there's a few. There's 8 that we tend to revolve around, but there's many. There's the quality of infinite life. Like we said, the life principle itself. You're alive now. Your heart is beating. You're breathing. That's life. Death doesn't kill life. Death kills form, death kills bodies, but death can't kill life because life always lives on. It's infinite soul. It's who you are as a divine, unique expression of the infinite intelligence that is the Lord. It's infinite spirit, which means that it's unassailable. It's the source of all that is, and therefore it cannot be attacked. It cannot be destroyed. And you are, as a soul, an extension of spirit as well. You're not a body. You're a soul, and your soul cannot be harmed. It's infinite intelligence. It's the intelligence of the entire universe that understands and knows how to create galaxies and suns and oceans and photosynthesis and mitosis and all of those amazing things that science is always uncovering and revealing. So infinite intelligence. And it's infinite truth. The truth of God always dispels everything that's not like itself. And the truth of God and the truth of the Lord of these Psalms is the one truth. And the one truth is that which always is freedom. So if there is something that you're feeling in your life that you're feeling unprotected, unsafe, it's because there's some untruth involved. And so once you know the truth, then you can claim your divine protection and your divine safety. Because the truth of God is that God does not leave you unprotected, does not leave you vulnerable. Infinite and divine love, perfect love. And so if you're feeling afraid, it's because you're not experiencing perfect love, because perfect love does cast out fear in the same way that turning on a light bulb casts out darkness. It's just the way it is. So perfect love is that out of which you are created. You are created out of an act of love, and you are an extension of light itself, which is synonymous to love. And therefore you are love yourself, even though you may not experience yourself as that all the time. That is the truth of who you are. It's infinite and divine law. God's laws are infinite, and they cannot and shall not and will not be violated. Now we can dream that we are violating God's laws. We can dream that we're making up laws that aren't of God. And we can have whole nightmares that last lifetime after lifetime, maybe last millions of years, in which it seems very real that there are different laws than God's. But that's not true. And once we recognize that that's not true, the truth will always dispel those lies, and God's laws will supersede the laws of time and space and supersede the laws made by man and woman, humankind. So when we work Psalms like this, we are elevating our consciousness, becoming one with these qualities of the divine, so that we can have experiences that reflect the truth about us rather than reflecting the lies of the dreams, the illusions, and the nightmares that we have all concocted here. So it says, "They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion." It's a lot easier to trust in the Lord now that you've defined what the Lord is. So when you trust that power, that is all those qualities that we've just defined, if you trust in that, then you're going to be just like Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abideth forever. That's exactly what you're like. You are as strong and even stronger than Mount Zion, because Mount Zion in the physical world, it's temporary. But if you think about what Mount Zion is in comparison to everything around it, it's sturdy, it's safe, it's complete, it's tall, right? And that's what you are. You are sturdy, you're safe, you're complete, you're huge. You're not a little insignificant soul. You're a giant. You're at least as big as a star, and you abide forever. It means that death does not touch you, not as a soul. Might touch your body, might touch your personality, might touch your circumstances, but those things are not who you are. The truth of who you are is much greater than anything within the storyline of this world. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, So the Lord is round about his people. So Jerusalem is, magically speaking, a dwelling place of peace. It's where your most peaceful center is within you. And where you are at peace is where you are at one with the Lord of these Psalms, where you're at one with infinite intelligence. And that's where you abide. And that is also known as heaven. That's what the metaphysical meaning of the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you simply means that place of peace within you. And so there are mountains that are round about that place of peace. That means that you can feel safe feeling at peace because you have a fortress all about you, which is the Lord. So the Lord is round about his people. Now his people are his thoughts. That means that you're a thought of God. You're a thought in the mind of God. And God doesn't change God's mind. God does not change their mind. God's thoughts are eternal, and therefore so are you. It says, from henceforth and forever. So you get it in the Psalms, and you get it in fairy tales, ever after, forever and ever. That's the place where we get these ideas of eternality. And so that's why Psalms and fairy tales are really, really healthy for us, because they keep reminding us of the truth that is behind the illusions of this world. And that is that there is nothing temporary about you. And the peace that abides within you is forever. And that's why you can claim divine protection. You can claim it because it's your birthright. It's who you are. It's nothing you have to beg for. It's nothing that you have to make sacrifices for. It's nothing that you have to be clever in order to achieve. It's just something that you need to claim. It's something that you need to claim because you're a divine child of the infinite here. It's spelled out for you, and you're an eternal thought in the mind of God. Now, if you were a wealthy heir to a fortune and you didn't claim your fortune, that doesn't mean that your fortune isn't there for you. You just didn't get it. You just didn't go get the money. So you are heir to a fortune. And part of that fortune is that you get to claim divine protection and peace and safety. And that's part of your inheritance. And so it's up to you to claim that. And that's what we're doing today with this psalm. For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous. Now, the lot of the righteous is if you're looking at the storyline of the Bible, here it's talking about when the tribes got split up and each tribe got a portion of the country. And then the Babylonians came in and took over, and they were in exile, and it was just not a pretty time. So that's a lot of what the drama is that's going on in the story here. So the lot means your portion of the kingdom. And your portion of the kingdom simply means that which God gave you. And it talks about what God gave you before this, and what God gave you is infinite and eternal. So your lot, your portion, is eternal and infinite. But it's unique unto you. That's the big mystery here. So your portion is who you are as a soul. And that's the place that you inhabit in the kingdom is your own and was given to you. And nobody can take that away from you. Nobody, not even you, but you can fall asleep to it. So for the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous. That means that nothing can touch you. Nothing can touch you. So when you have the rod of the wicked are those the thought forms within you which are self-destructive that you have adopted, and that was known in biblical language as the fall from grace. The fall from grace simply means when Adam fell asleep. When Adam fell asleep in the Bible. When Adam fell asleep in the Bible, Adam was not a male yet. It was before that part of the Bible that was where before the rib got split out. So Adam was the divine child of God. That was pre-gender, and then Adam fell asleep, and then started dreaming about the tree of good and evil, and then started dreaming about its separation, and then the genders got separated, and the whole saga of the rest of that Bible happened, all of the nightmare for the rest of the Bible. So when it says that the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the righteous, it means that never happened. It never happened. You didn't fall from grace. You didn't get split. You didn't get separated. There was no tree of evil. Nothing happened. It was a big dream. It was a big concoction in your own mind. So the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, because it's not God's will. It's not God's law. And we talked about that earlier, that if it's not God's will and it's not God's law, the only way that you can experience it is within the realm of a hallucination or a nightmare. And therefore, you are safe, you are protected, and you can claim that right now. Lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. So what that's saying is, if God let that be true, if God said, well, it's okay, you can be wicked if you want. You can have anything you want. You can be wicked, you can be good. If that happened, then that means that God's children would no longer be God's children. You would be able to have the ability to change your essential nature. And that's just not true. It's just not part of God's will. So you can't change your essential nature. So it's giving you, in here where it says, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity, it's saying it's impossible for the rod of the wicked to rest upon the lot of the righteous. It's impossible, because if that was possible, then more impossibility could happen. And that's just not in God's will. It's just not going to happen. So this is a reminder that your protection is your birthright, because you are righteous, because you were created that way. Righteous simply means that you're right, that you're good, that you're perfect, just the way you were created. Not junk, not evil, not bad, not sinful, none of that. And nothing you can do can change that. You're never gonna change God's mind about you. It's never going to happen. The best you can come up with is bad dreams. Do good, O Lord, unto those that be good. Well, you are good because that's how you were created. Therefore, God only does do good for you. That's just the way it is. And if you're not experiencing that, then it's time for you to make a new decision. You're going to ask for God's will instead of your own. And that's what the whole ego mind is all about. The ego mind is saying, yeah, but I want to do things my way. I want to see myself as wicked. I want to see myself as evil. I want to be all by myself. I want to do what I want to do. I don't want to have God's will. I want my will. Me. And God says, well, go ahead. You can do that. It's not real. It's not real. You can fall asleep and do that, and stay asleep and do that for as long as you like. But when you wake up, you'll realize nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happened. You didn't make yourself evil. You didn't do anything bad. Nobody got hurt at all. And so it's just a matter of you going through experiences that are unnecessary. And to them that are upright in their hearts. Now, being upright in your heart simply means that your subconscious mind is only being programmed with thoughts that are of God, that are of truth. So when you program your mind with thoughts that are untrue, what that does is it causes you to go into a stupor, causes you to fall asleep, and it causes you to dream dreams of things that aren't really happening. But dreams feel very real when they're happening, and that's what our world is. It's a very real hallucination. It's like a big mass hallucination where our whole group mind is not upright in heart, that our subconscious minds are dallying in thought forms, with thought forms of separation and in evil and iniquity and attack and all of those things, none of which are true, none of which can happen, but they can really, really seem awful. And that's what's happening. As for such as turn aside unto their crooked ways, the Lord shall lead them forth with the workers of iniquity. Now, God's not going to lead people aside. God's not going to lead God's own creation aside, because that's unconscionable. That's not how things work. But God can lead your thought forms away from you. And really what it is God's leading you away from your thought forms, your untrue, evil thought forms. Now, evil simply means that which is standing in the way of your good. So anything in your life that is standing in the way of your good, and in this case, your feelings of being unsafe, we call that evil. That's the terminology. And evil simply means that which is standing in the way of your good, or that which is obstructing your good, shadowing your good, or blocking your good. But it's not a force unto itself. It's not a force unto itself. It's the denial of a force. It's the shadowing or a blocking of a force. So evil is nothing to be afraid of because it doesn't really exist ultimately. So those so-called evil thought forms, once we recognize that we no longer want to go down those paths, we can be led out of them. Or as it says in the Psalm, it says the Lord shall lead them forth with the workers of iniquity. And then it ends with, but peace shall be upon Israel. Israel is you. That's you. Now the country of Israel represents you in that the entire nation is there, and all the people that are in that nation are your thoughts. But Israel also is the name of what Jacob was renamed. And so when Jacob was renamed Israel, that means that God said, it doesn't matter all the mistakes you've made, Jacob. It didn't matter. I love you so much that I'm going to call you Israel. I'm going to give you even more benefit. I'm going to make it even better for you. So don't worry that you made mistakes. Don't worry that you're not perfect in this world. You're doing the best you can do, and I'm rewarding you. And so peace be unto Israel. It has a lot of all of that wrapped up in it for you. You're Israel. You've done your best. You've made mistakes. And this infinite intelligence says, that's all right. That's okay. I'm going to still rename you Israel because I love you so much. And you can't really do anything. You can't really ultimately make a mistake. Only in time, but in eternity, you're still alive and well and living with me, even though you happen to be asleep right now. So we'll gently wake you up. And in the meantime, I want you to know how safe you are and that you're protected, and that let's start turning this nightmare of yours into a happier dream, into a better dream. And that's what a psalm like this does, is it starts to turn this dream that you're experiencing into happier experiences, because like what it said, the upright in heart, that means that you're reprogramming your subconscious mind so that it's only dealing with thoughts that are of truth. So your life starts to reflect a happier, more truthful experience, a more peaceful experience. So you just keep coming back to this psalm again and again until you get a sense of peace and certainty that you are safe. And then once you get that sense of peace and certainty, you just stop working on it. You don't have to keep casting. You cast every day until you get that click, that sense that your spell has taken. And once you get that sense of peace and certainty, that means that you don't have to cast anymore. It's better that you just leave it alone and go on to something else. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me. Until next time, blessed be.